Hey, folks, welcome to another Catch Up with Mayo live stream. And it's 4 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm here. I was almost not going to be here, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I had a procedure done, my back teeth here yesterday. Exactly 24 hours ago, 4 o'clock. This time yesterday, 24 hours ago, 4 p.m. yesterday. I had all kinds of injections in there for painkillers and Novocaine, and I needed a lot of them, let me tell you. And it's done. It's done. And I'm in pretty good shape. I don't feel any pain anymore. I mean, it was one of the most excruciating experiences I ever had in a dental chair. But it's over now. Talk about it maybe a little bit, but there's other things you want to talk about here other than that. That subject is more for my other channel. Talk more about life stuff. Right, Mike? Isn't that right, Mike? Wall Jasper and Ramoga. And Harold. Isn't that correct? Yeah, exactly. Lila, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you. It was nasty, let me tell you. I've had a couple of extractions in the back before, but this was the worst with the infection. And Thursday was the 55th anniversary of Plastic Ono Band. Hello. Oh, solo Mayo. That's it. It's a solo Mayo. Maybe. You never know. Maybe somebody will come up here. Hi, George. Exactly. If I had a little bit of LSD, maybe I wouldn't care what was going on in that chair. I tell you, I don't know if any of you ever had the experience, but you don't ever want to get teeth extracted in the back when you have an active infection, despite how much, no matter how much they give you. The guy was giving me the stuff as he was pulling. He would start pulling and crack. I'd say, wait a minute. He goes, you still feel it? It's okay. I'll give you a little more. Right in there. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I paid a lot for the dent. Absolutely. I won't tell you how much. Maybe I told you on the other end. It was a lot. Yeah, it was an oral surgeon. I went to an oral surgeon specialist. Yeah. But like I said, this was 24 hours ago, and now I don't even feel a thing. It feels fine already. What's going on, Joe? It's funny for me to say to somebody else, hey, Joe. They didn't give me laughing gas. No way. Hello, Gary. James, what's going on? James Farley. Give my regards to Broad Street box set. It's much more than that. I'm feeling pretty damn good. You know, James, I was saying that as of now, anyway, I had this done 24 hours ago to the minute, practically. And it was really painful then, but I didn't feel anything today. Yeah, that's what I had. And believe me, it was not just a little bit of Novocaine. They had to give me a lot, and then a lot more, and a lot more and more as they would do it, because it wasn't fun. I'm feeling a little bit Christmassy, but yeah, I feel a little Christmas. Sure, I don't mind Christmas in December. It's when they're doing Christmas The rest of the year, especially in the summer, Christmas in July and all that bull. That's when I don't want Christmas. But Christmas in December, I'm okay with it. I'm all in. It's not my favorite time of year at all. It's my least favorite time of year. When that song goes, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Speak for yourself. No, I don't play the Christmas messages anymore. Isn't that something? You might think I'm crazy, but these days my favorite year of the Christmas messages is 68, 69. I always like 63, the first one. It's a long story with this, but when I was a kid, we went to I'm telling you the long story anyway. When I was a kid, we went to a summer resort that we used to stay at, and they had like all different festivities there. And at nighttime, they'd have movies. This is back before they had videotapes, the old days when they just had the movie reels. And they would show a movie, and they were showing There's a Girl in My Soup. And at the time, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I remember we were watching the movie, and all of a sudden, at one point, the parents kept saying, "Okay, kids, that's it. Leave the room. Leave." I don't know what was supposedly going on there, but I have not seen the epic trailer for the Elvis Presley in concert film that's coming out, I believe, in May. Am I right? Is it May or February? Why do I want to say May? But I'm probably going to see it. But I haven't seen the trailer yet. But yeah, you were asking about the Christmas singles before. I don't play the Christmas singles, nor do I play the Christmas album. I just feel I've heard the Beatles' Christmas messages enough for a long, long time. Yes, they closed it up with stitches because I got bone grafting done. Yes, I chose to get the bone graft, which I think is a good idea. Makes the jaw, a little more strong. And if you're going to put implants in there later, if I hit the lottery or something, yeah. You're not kidding. You're not kidding. Well, Gary, if I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and I would take better care of those things back there. But it is what it is. I think I'm doing pretty good for 63. I thought you would ask me because I've never seen Duel. I've never seen Duel, believe it or not, and I have no interest in seeing it now either. I mean, maybe I'll see it one of these days, but I'm not interested in seeing it on Svengoolie. Let's put it that way. Absolutely, yes. I agree with you on this. The singles collection is very nice, very nice. Yeah, and I've heard this too. I've heard that Jaws is basically a redo in some ways of Duel. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Well, thank you. Considering considering this year, considering, yeah, I would say, yeah, I feel I'm amazed. I'm just relieved that it's gone. I've had this problem for a while with the teeth, and the gut's gone for now. But I'm always guarded because I always know, okay, maybe gone for now. What's going to happen in the future? Complications, problems. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Cross that bridge if we come to it, not necessarily when we come to it, but if we come to it. If Yeah, yeah. Well, I like to watch March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy, which is also mainly known as Babes in Toyland. And I like Miracle on 34th Street. I don't want to speak too soon. I mean, when I say headaches, they're very mild, and it's still supposed to be with the neck. I'm wondering if getting the teeth done helped the headache in any way. But I still have, I still have a little twinge now and then. But we'll see. That's a work in progress, James. We'll see how that goes. Why did you have to go to the dentist in the first place? Was it toothache or gums? Well, I broke it. The back molar over here broke, and I let it go a little bit, and then it started to get infected. So I had to get it pulled because I had to either get a root canal or get it pulled, and I wasn't going to get a root canal right now. So, but also when they looked at the X-ray, they also found that the tooth in front of it, unbeknownst to me, was also infected. So I had 2 infections, and both of them had to come out because the infections they showed me on the X-rays, the infections were pretty damn extensive. The infections were not light. They were pretty, and I could tell you the way it felt because I've had a tooth pulled before, but it didn't hurt. These 2 hurt because they were infected. And there was, you don't want to know some of the stuff they said was coming out of it. You don't want to know. Anybody eating dinner yet out there? Well, I got to say, this particular guy's great. He's an oral surgeon. He's more than just a dentist, and he really is good. Well, that's the thing. I had a 4:00 appointment. I was out of there by half an hour, about a half an hour. But I had two done, not one. And but that was a half hour. Also, taking into account the time that it takes to prep. You have to use the Novocaine, and then you wait 10 or 15 minutes till it takes effect. I was surprised. It seemed a lot. While I was in there, I thought I was in there for I thought I was an hour 15 minutes. It seemed so long, but it wasn't when I looked at the clock. No, he does not. No, he does not. If I have my way, that he won't know me. But what's going on, Mason? I remember talking to you back then. Back when? Yeah, I didn't have it. I don't. No, I didn't have a Beatles shirt on. I do a lot of that for when I'm on here. I wear a Beatles related shirt or something. You know. And of course, they gave me an ice pack and they gave me some stuff, but I don't seem to need it. I mean, I don't. My face is already puffy, so I don't have to worry about it, right? You know. What's going on, Paul? This is Paul. What do you expect from a new Paul album? Do you guess he'll be putting out new material in 2026? I expect. Oh, this is not Paul. I keep saying this is Paul, and it's not Paul. Am I right? God, you keep tricking me like that. It's not Paul. What do I expect from a new Paul's album, Paul McCartney album? I don't know what to expect. It seems to me like he's waiting on it for a long time. He's been working on it for a long time, and I think he's taking a long time on it because he wants it to be good, and he knows any album at this point could be his last. And I'm thinking he really wants to make it really good. I'm still wondering how good it can sound because of the state of his voice now, but we'll see, and I'll give an honest opinion of it. So there you go. And it's supposed to come out next year. Don't know when. Tom, what's going on, Tom? Merry Christmas. Hello, Yorkie girl. Thanks for joining us, too. I don't know anything about the Beatle Fest yet. Still haven't heard anything of you. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be one. I don't know what's going on here at this point. I'm feeling very good. Very good. I'm very surprised because I don't want to keep rehashing it for those who are here already. But I had it done 24 hours ago. This time yesterday, they were pulling this time 4:15. He was pulling my teeth anyway, and it was a lot of pain, a very difficult procedure. I've never had such a painful procedure, but here I am. I woke up this morning. I don't feel anything, no pain and after effect or nothing. And I want to caution. I think Joe is getting a procedure. Whoever's getting the procedure themselves. The only reason it hurt that much was because mine was greatly infected, and that infection hurts even when they numbed it up. Let me tell you. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Uh, I don't know. That's a good question because there's nothing. I don't know if they're going to have one in 2026. I really don't. Beetle Fest. That's about the size of it. Fixing a hole. Hi, Eric. Yeah, and he's supposed to be working with Andrew Watt, who's a great producer. I love what he did with Hackney Diamonds with the Rolling Stones. So I'm hoping it's a good album. I'm hoping it's worth the wait, and that it was a good thing that it took him that long, to do it. My dad was a dentist, and in those days, it was in the office. It's in the house, right? The office was in the house. Sorry. Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, I went to my as a kid. I went to my share of dentists that were in the house. Yeah, yeah. Let's hope that he doesn't go really crazy changing the vocals around too much. Too much auto tune that's perceptible. Too much overly perceptible auto tune or anything. I do like the Monkees, absolutely. My favorite Monkees album, I think, is More of the Monkees, the second one. Yeah. I have never done a review of a Sean Lennon album. I never heard a Sean Lennon album in its entirety. I did hear Ghost of the Saber-Toothed Tiger. My nephew once brought that album to my house many years ago now, 10 years ago or something. When I first moved into this room. And he played me a couple of songs, and they were good. They were good songs. But I never heard the whole thing. Hey, it's Juicy. This is Juicy. Anybody know the record store videos? The guy that's got his head shaved. When am I going to the store? I don't know. I don't go there that much anymore. I couldn't go the other day. I heard Big Mike was in the store. I couldn't make it that day. The timing hasn't been good, but I'm gonna be back in there. When am I going to the store? That's who knows at this point. But I'll be back. I had a tooth pulled in October. No complications, but it's not pleasant. Yeah, mine was rough. This was rough. Apparently, money well spent. Yeah, well, yeah. Just watched The Lost Weekend on Prime Video. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Uh, to me, the attendance at the Fest for Beatles fans, it's still very good on Saturday. Saturday is the main day. Friday has never been very good, and Sunday is dwindling. But Saturday is the main day. Saturday's pretty good. Any follow up with the sturgeon after the stitches removed? No, the ones I got, they'll dissolve on their own. A week to 10 days, they'll dissolve. So I'm not worried about that. But I do have to go back to the dentist the middle of January just to get, see how we're doing. I was given an antibiotic after I started taking the antibiotic. The problem is, if anybody cares, this is the kind of stuff. I know a lot of people are like, who gives a damn about your teeth, right? A lot of people sitting here, I know right now they're thinking this to themselves.
Why are you telling me this? I'm not interested in your life story.
Anyway, be that as it may. Seriously, though, here's the thing. This is the side that was bad, right? But I also, for about 3 years now, I have a bad tooth up here that needs a root canal. Okay, now, since I got the surgery here yesterday, I'm chewing over here. And this is acting up now. I'm putting all the work on this side. So in other words, I'm going to have to get something done up here too. 3 years ago, I was told I need a root canal. Let's hope that I don't need it pulled or whatever, Don't worry, I got a lot of teeth. Got a lot of teeth. I mean, I got antibiotics afterwards. I got antibiotics after. Hi, Tom. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, reservations and tickets for past fests usually occurred in September. Doesn't look like a March fest. No, it's not. March definitely is not happening. How in the world, right? But I wonder if they're going to do anything in 2026. Even Chicago. I mean, I'm not going to go to Chicago. But does the record store close the normal Christmas holidays? I think they do close on Christmas Day. It doesn't usually stay closed, What's your favorite John album? Do you skip Yoko songs just like me? No, I never skip the Yoko songs. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I played an album that I haven't heard in a long time. It's Double Fantasy, but the stripped down version. Double Fantasy stripped down, and that's the next video I'm going to do is going to be a review on that. Anyway, I haven't played that in many years, and I loved it. I loved it, and I love Yoko songs, and I do. I think that on Double Fantasy, Yoko Ono's got some of her best songs she's ever had on there. I do. And I don't love all her music, but I like a lot of it. I do. I don't like the screams, but I like the ones with the singing. Most of them. A lot of them. But anyway, my favorite John album is probably either Imagine or Walls and Bridges. I always say that the Plastic Ono Band is probably John's masterpiece, but the problem is it's too depressing, and who wants to listen to that all the time? That's the problem with it. Imagine is much more accessible in general, and Walls and Bridges as well. You just saw Mickey Dolenz last week. When you saw Mickey Dolenz, did he give you a fist bump like this?
This is for
That's not a fist bump. That's what I like. There you go. All right, let's go. I have to go. I'm kind of like missing. Let's. I like More of the Monkees the best out of all their albums. There you go. Don't go to the dentist in basement apartments in Queens, though. I did go in Queens when I was a kid, but it wasn't a basement apartment. I was at the fest in Chicago in August. Virtually nothing happens on something. Virtually nothing happens on something. Why am I not understanding? Oh, on Sunday. On Sunday. Okay. On Sunday. Here it is. Virtually nothing happens on Sunday. Yeah. Have you noticed there are all of a sudden lots of criticisms for Anthology 4 videos on here now that the novelty is worn off, picking holes out of it by different channels? Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Especially that guy, Vinyl Rewind. What a clown. Sorry, that's my opinion. Was it a good idea? It was a mistake to put this out? Yeah, big mistake. We can always use more Beatles outtakes, Any real fan appreciates the more Beatles outtakes, the merrier. That's how I look at it. I had a friend who never brushed their teeth. They were green. Disgusting. I hear Godzilla loves going to the dentist. Godzilla? Really? It's only a matter of time before Ramoga gets that Godzilla clip played. My dentist always gives me a tip. Only clean the ones you want to keep. Very interesting. Very interesting. I went to the Beatles Fest for about 20 years. Always attended Saturday and Sunday. Well, these days when I do go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's only because I have the channel. I like to meet people. If there are any autographs, this is the way I do it. If there are any autographs I want to get, Friday's the lightest day, so I go Friday when nobody's really there, and it's easy to get the autographs. But also, I want to meet all of you and say hello to all of you. That's the reason I go. All 3 days, usually. Okay, Walrus Gumboot, what's going on? Did you hear the story of the record store owner in Vancouver who had the Beatles Decca Audition master tape who just recently gave it back to McCartney? I didn't hear that he gave it back to McCartney. That I didn't hear. See that? You learn something new every day here. 2 nights ago, I listened to all of Double Fantasy. I remembered how it was to hear it in the final days of November 1980, when it seemed that John was back to stay. Yoko's songs are good. I think so. Not everybody's going to like them. And a lot of people have mental blocks where they're not going to allow themselves. There's one thing between listening to the songs and saying, I don't like them. That's one thing. Another person say, I don't like her, therefore I'm not going to la 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 la. I got Yoko derangement syndrome. La 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 la. I've got Yoko derangement syndrome. Those people. There's a difference. Do you have a TV planner over the Christmas period, and do you circle the things? No. I mean, I used to do things like that when I was a kid. We had the TV guide, and we used to circle all week what we wanted to watch, but I haven't done that since I was a kid. Hello, what's up? Whoa, there you are with May Pang. There you go. And it's Tony. I know it's you now, Tony. Thank you for showing the picture. Walls and Bridges, what a record. I think What You Got is the strongest gem and such an underrated track. You don't get many John rockers. He didn't live long enough, but What You Got is one of his good rockers. I agree. Anthology 4 is good. Might have been better, but I'm glad that we have what we have. That's how I look at it, I look at it like that. Yes, I saw that. I might do the same thing. The Borrowed Time. I'm going to order that. I'm going to order that as well. I'm going to get mine on a Blu-ray probably, but I saw that they're now available. The Godzilla clip. You love that Godzilla clip. I know, Ramoga. I know. You're right. It does look like nighttime. It's not dark yet, but it's getting there, I remember when they didn't charge for autographs at the fest. The world's over. I've said that. I say that every day. The world's finished. It's done. Spring Hill Jim. What's up, Jim? Where's the movie channel? I keep telling you to start a movie channel. You know a lot of stuff. Have you seen the viral footage of a live streamer meeting Ringo at the Manchester airport? The person didn't seem to know who Ringo was. That one I have not seen. I've seen other ones like that, but I've never seen that one. A new Monkey CD LP coming out January 30th. What is that going to be? Yeah, I got to say, that's a good thing. When I do my review, I'll talk. Let's see, one track I don't love is Every Man Has a Woman Who Loves Him on that particular stripped down. I much prefer the one on the actual album. Yep, June 20, 2023. I told her Walls and Bridges is a masterpiece. And her voice does appear on it. I had all the Bond themes on Spotify playing the other day, and I've forgotten just what great tunes they are. Even the ones I'm not too keen on do have a certain something. Well, the Madonna one, I don't know about. Die Another Day. Yeah. What's My Blood Sugar? I don't know. I don't have a tester. I don't have a tester. These days, I wouldn't think it was too good, though. I'll be honest with you. I got water here, but these days, I wouldn't think it's too good. I'm trying to swallow on the good side. Yeah, I don't know. Jimmy Nickel did. He just dropped off the face of the earth. I don't know what that's all about. He just like he was shell shocked. He just stopped his life after the Beatles thing. He was like in shock because I don't know if he expected to go on with the Beatles when Ringo came back or what. What is the chances of a video titled Joe's Guide to Wrapping Different Shaped Christmas Presents? What's the odds of that? Very slim, Lila. Very slim. I don't think we're gonna get that anytime soon. Yeah, when you watch a John Lennon documentary, sadly, we know how it ends. Wow. 45 years ago this month. I know I didn't do anything this year. I mean, I did make a video on November 15th, when I talked about John Lennon Lives On. that thing. First time I heard the Double Fantasy album in November of '80. I made that video this year. Which was kind of that's my offering for remembering John in December. How about Mikey Arugula opens different shaped presents? Well, all I know is I'm expecting next week to go with Mikey Arugula record some stuff over there. So let's see what he's got planned. And I will say that while I had my dental procedure pulling, 2 teeth pulled way back here yesterday, 24 hours ago. In fact, this I know stuff like this. This is when it was 2 minutes ago. It was finished. 1 minute ago, 4:29 p.m. I looked. I said, "Time 4:29. It's done." It's 4:30 now, actually. So 4:31. But anyway, what's the point of all this? Yeah, I forgot I was starting to tell a story again that nobody wants to hear. Would you prefer to see the Beatles? I know what I was going to say. Since I had this done, this is the most talking I've done in the last 24 hours. I've just spent 31 minutes talking straight. So now, I might not stay on here very long. Maybe an hour, if that. Okay. Would you prefer to see the Beatles concerts in '65 or the Hamburg concerts? That's interesting. 65 because Ringo would be there. But then again, if I saw them in '65, you're not going to be able to hear them, right? But if you saw them with Hamburg, the chances are you'll be able to hear them. But I still think I'd rather see them in '65. I do not have any Booker T and the MG's albums. I've been eating freshly baked chocolate chip cookies today. I'm sure my blood sugar is spiking, but I need them today. Yeah, I'm sure that my sugar is not good. The story that I went off the wagon the last few months and trying to get back. Horrible as it is, that's the problem with documentaries, especially like with the complete Beatles. Yeah, George still does humanitarian acts. Yeah, we have to take into account what year you're watching, right? What year, whatever it is, whether it's a movie or a documentary, you have to know when it was made and put yourself in that place. I did not, as it turned out, I was not able to go to the Ken Womack convention, which I was going to go. But I think there's going to be another one. So there's always a chance for a redo. But I did want to go, and I had him here, as you may know. I did a little interview with him about it. You want to go in 2026? Yeah, maybe. There's one thing that comes to mind. I could show it to you. If you hang on a minute, let me get it. Okay, I have it here. And I don't know, it's amazing to me that I still have this. My mother gave this to me when I was a kid. Somebody gave it to her at her job. My mother used to work in the World Trade Center in the early '70s. And somebody gave her this rock, but when you turn it around, it's cut. Not just something that she gave me. And for some reason, I still have it. I mean, when I say for some reason, I like it. It's just a nice thing to have. But the thing that's amazing is that somehow I've managed not to lose it. I've had this for 50 years, maybe over 50 years, and somehow I've managed not to lose it. Now watch me lose it because I showed it to you. It's pretty wild. Oh, sure. I do. I was 18 years old. I had just graduated high school, and I had my first job. I was working as a printer at a printing company. And on the evening of December 8th, it was about, I don't know, a quarter to 11, close to 11 o'clock. And I was getting ready for bed. I was sitting on the bed, took my shoes off, getting ready for bed for work the next morning. And I got a phone call from my friend on the telephone. And when the phone rings at 11 o'clock at night, that's never a good thing. And he told me, watch the news. John says John's been shot. And that's where I was, and I did turn on the news, and I turned on the TV. I turned on the radio, and back and forth. I was on the phone with my friend. My friend was on with me the whole time. And we talked, and we worried. Maybe it's only a flesh wound. Maybe he just got shot in the arm or the leg. Maybe it's not serious. And we followed it all the way through, and there you go. No, it's not from the World Trade Center building that's Brock. No. Somebody that worked with her gave it to her as a gift or something. So she gave it to me. Beats me. I don't know. There you go. That's news to me. Do you have a highlight of 2025? Your channel, something you did, something you bought? Well, usually it's hard to come up with an answer like that, but I guess meeting Sean Lennon in person and saying hello after he watched my channel is a pretty big deal. That was in October. That's probably the biggest highlight. And another highlight is when I stayed on the wagon on the diet, and I got rid of sugar and all carbs, and I lost like almost 40 pounds. That was a good thing. Of course, since then I went off the wagon again. Now I intend on going back on. But anyway, that was even though it was temporary, I managed to do it. So those are the two highlights. I still have that cassette tape from December 8th, 1980. I made a video once where you have to look at it. I don't know what it's called. December 8th, 1980. The night we lost John Lennon or something like that is on my channel. And I play the cassette tape. It's a cassette tape of when I had it. I put a cassette in when I was scurrying around, panicking. I hope he's all right. But yet I wanted to record it at the same time, the news. So, yeah. What do you say there, little girl? When I do that Archie voice, yeah, little girl, that's the side I got to use. That hurts. No, I did not. I talked to Sean maybe one day, do an interview or something, but we haven't gotten to it. And certainly not a live stream. No, not a live stream. Oh, you saw the video again a couple of days ago, but very nice. Thanks. Appreciate that. This, of course, this is Peter, right, Peter? Hello, Peter. Hello. So I'm on the subway the other night, and I get this jerk standing next to me, Edith, and he's going on, and he's talking to his daughter. What's the matter with that? She wasn't there, Edith. Get it? He was crazy. Do you remember the Brady Brides? I don't remember that one. The other night, they were on TV. They were playing a very Brady Christmas, and that was lousy. I shut it off. I like the Brady Bunch TV show, but when John Lennon passed away, I was at the Police concert and shocked when I heard the news. I have a friend that has been taking a drug that shrinks his stomach. He's lost 40 pounds the first month. Sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I've done videos on that on my Mayo Loves Monday channel. To me, that's not going to last. Grant, it doesn't last if you start eating bad again either. But no, I like it naturally. I believe good. I mean, good for your friend, but I guess eventually, he's going to put it back. I wish him the best, but I don't go for that. What was your movie highlight of 2025? Going to see Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, 4.5 hours, which I just saw twice with different people. Ice cream will be a relief if your teeth still hurt. I guess it's wintertime there, but you can try. My teeth don't still hurt. I'm luckily, but the problem is if I have anything really cold like that, the good side hurts now because I got a bad tooth up there now. What do you look forward to eating over Christmas? There's nothing I'm looking forward to eating over Christmas. Nothing. Just a regular day like any other. Regular food, chicken, turkey. Nah, cookies are garbage. They're garbage. Right now I'm not counting calories, but obviously. But when I do, I won't have anything to do with those. Route 23 came out of the diner. When you came out of the diner, everybody knows where they were, remembers where they were. Yeah, it's just not for me. I'm sorry. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Uh, Come to London in 2026. It's not that expensive. If you can pay my way, Peter, I'll think about it. How's that? Is that fair? It was not that expensive. I'm sure you could foot the bill, pal. I listened to the Phil Spector Christmas album yesterday. I love it. There's a fine line between genius and insanity. Your thoughts on the album? I like the album. I have the album. I have the original, and I like it. And I do think there's a fine line between genius and insanity. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Kill Bill is great acting, great story. Very bloody though. The thing is, my friend Robert S. went to see it with me, and Robert S. has a very weak stomach and can't take bloody movies. And I told him before we went, now this is very bloody, but I guarantee you, after you see the movie, you're going to realize, you're going to think, even though it was bloody, it was so ridiculous and over the top. It wasn't even. It was like silly. It was silly. So he wasn't grossed out by it. Right now, my favorite Rolling Stones album is Hackney Diamonds. As crazy as that may sound to a lot of fans, right now that's my favorite. I thought they did an excellent job on Hackney Diamonds. I kept playing it when it came out. It's a couple of years ago now. I haven't played it since, but I did play it a couple of times. Well, right now I have a lot of dental work to concentrate on, sir. Dave Letterman was genius and insanity. Possibly. I always liked David Letterman. He was my favorite talk show host back in the day. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't get it from Howard Cosell. Thank God. That's one of the great things about me hating football. Since I hate football, I was nowhere near a television with Howard Cosell on December 8th. Planet Terror is great. Yeah, Planet Terror is the Robert Rodriguez one, right? Planet Terror is not Tarantino. Tarantino did Death Proof. Well, don't forget, you're a working class guy and can afford to go the other way, Peter. However, you're working. I'm not working. I'm retired. There's a difference. I'm not sure what. I don't even know that he tried to contact John in 1980. I didn't know. I don't think I knew that. I'm going to try another sip of water because this is the side I'm supposed to drink on, but it's hard, you know. If some water goes on the bad side, it's not going to hurt anything. Just trying not to let anything go on the surgery side. Cher will be on Saturday Night Live next Saturday. I like Cher, but she's going to be 80, you know. Wow. She's close to 80. Stevie Nicks, I found out, is close to 80. Wow. I am not on painkillers. I don't need them. I don't have any pain. Nope. When do you think you'll listen to another Beatles album in full randomly? I don't know. Because as I say, as much as I love the Beatles and I have a channel, I can't play the Beatles every day. And sometimes months go by or a year before I play a Beatles album. I play solo albums. I played Double Fantasy Stripped Down the other day, which I'm going to review soon. And, you know, stuff like that. Solo albums, Anthology 4. But the regular Beatle albums I don't play that often. Hi, James. North of England. I was born in the north of England. I was raised in a working town. I intend right now. I intend on doing a movie show. The movie show still should be on Monday. I don't know who's going to be on it. You know, Tim usually is able to make it. Tom, it depends on his schedule. And I want to do it. I asked Tom if he'd like to do a show, just a separate show where he and I discuss Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, because we've just seen it. We've both seen it. And we want to do like just a special video just on that. My favorite Tarantino films. Number 1 is probably Kill Bill. Number 2 is Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was number 1 for a long time. Now they're moving. Number 3 is Django Unchained, I think. And then the rest of them, you know, I have to think about. But those are my favorite 3. Death Proof might be number 4. What Beatles song would you use as a deep cut to astound a non-Beatles fan? It depends what kind of fan they were. If they liked like heavy music, heavy rock, I do Helter Skelter if they never heard it. If they liked soft music and love songs and things like that, maybe I'd play something like suggest like I'll Follow the Sun, something like that. Which Beatles album studio is your least favorite, and why is it your least? Probably Let It Be is my least favorite. I'm not talking. Look, it's easy to say Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine is my least favorite. You know, but I'm not going to count that. So it's either Beatles for Sale. I know Beatles for Sale always gets a bad rap. I love all the Beatles albums, including Beatles for Sale, and including Let It Be. But I'll probably put Let It Be. I don't know. I think just because it was the problems they had during the Get Back sessions, and I realized since we've gotten Peter Jackson's documentary, we know it wasn't all gloom and doom. But the fact that they recorded it and Phil Spector took it over, I like what Phil Spector did to it, by the way. I've always supported it. I like what Phil Spector did. But you know, it's just the fact that it came out late. They shelved it and then put it out late. I don't know. So that's it. And I agree with you. Let It Be is a 10 out of 10 album. I think all the Beatles albums are 10 out of 10 albums. But still, even within the 10 out of 10 realm, something could be your lowest 10 out of 10. Like I would ask you, Guido, what do you put as the Beatles' least album? Because I could say the same thing, whatever it is that you put last, I might say, why? That's a 10 out of 10 album, Guido. How could you put it there? I have not seen this movie. Sorry, James. What's your favorite previously unreleased Beatles song? Well, they're all released now, though, right? All of them are released now. For a long time, I would say we're talking about the studio sessions, right? I would say "Leave My Kitten Alone" if that's what we're talking about. But I also love "I'll Be on My Way." In some ways, "I'll Be on My Way" is my number one. It's on the BBC sessions. I don't know if that's what we're talking about. When you say unreleased Beatles song, let me know exactly what you mean. I agree about playing Beatles albums. Past Masters and Yellow Submarine Songtrack normally my go-to for a fix. Last album I played in full was With the Beatles. With the Beatles is in a lot of ways my favorite Beatles album. It's my favorite early Beatles album. Now you see, that's interesting. A Hard Day's Night is your least favorite? Interesting. But hey, everybody's got their choice. Do you prefer the 65 stereo mix of Help and Rubber Soul over the 87? I'm trying to remember them. The 87 is the CDs. I'm going to say 65. I don't know. I'm still waiting for the next one. I'm still hoping that they put out, and they will. They will. Eventually, they'll do Rubber Soul, and they'll do Help and all the other albums, and hopefully we'll get the ultimate mix then. Let's put it that way. For me, Let It Be is my least favorite, though I love Let It Be Naked in the original Glyn Johns version. Well, see, I don't like, the thing is, I like the Glyn Johns version as a curiosity, as a fan, to hear it raw, a raw thing. However, it's not personally my favorite. I prefer Spectre. Have you ever seen a video where someone unboxes or handles an item the way you would never and you shiver watching it? Yeah, I've seen stuff like that, sure. People, how could you do that? You touching it the wrong way, you're handling it the wrong way, be careful. Yeah, sure. Some people get that when they watch the record store videos, They don't like the way the record store handlers handle records. I can't remember what the first Beatles album I bought was. Honestly, when I got back into I'll tell you some memories I have. I remember buying Meet the Beatles in the 1970s. A 1975 version of it, probably, or 76. It was probably 75. I remember buying Magical Mystery Tour. Not in the 60s, in the 70s. Back then I wasn't as in tune with what I was buying first. I can't imagine what I remember buying Magical Mystery Tour, and I remember buying Meet the Beatles in the 70s, but and also maybe the U.S. Hard Day's Night album, but I don't remember for sure what the first one was. I do like the Beatles cover version of Soldier of Love. I think it's excellent. Yeah, I love it. That's another good choice. I wish UK mono albums were sold separately. I own some mono Argentinian editions, but I'm lacking a good mono Rubber Soul. Yep, I hear you. I thought the Red and the Blue albums were your first Beatle records. I'm pretty sure not. It's hard to be sure. I'm really not sure. I don't think so. Um, You have to watch anything your girlfriend loves, but you have to watch it just to keep the peace. No, it's not like that with my relationship. I don't have to watch anything I don't want to watch of hers, and she doesn't have to watch anything she doesn't want of mine. And that's the way it is. But sometimes I was just thinking, talking about Tarantino, she's out shopping right now. And sometimes if I put a movie on, she sits down. But if I already have a movie started, she may sit and watch some of it with me. I was thinking of putting Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof on right now when she comes home from shopping. It's already started. Maybe she'll watch it. I can remember in the late 70s when the Let It Be album was in a discount bin at Kmart. Yeah, I've heard that. Did the Beatles sing Slow Down and Matchbox single? Did the Slow Down and Matchbox single hit the charts? Although both songs are covers. Now, even though I know my stuff pretty well, I don't know this for sure. I seem to think I see something in my mind's eye that the Matchbox and Slow Down US single was in the charts, but it wasn't high. Somebody look that up, please. Yes, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Everybody makes mistakes. Two Beatles demos are recently leaked online, Misery and Love of the Loved. Must hear those. Are there any Beatles songs you think the Beatles should have covered? That's interesting. It was very interesting. I think that those are examples you're giving there. Shop Around, Smokey Robinson. It's a good one. I can't think of any now, but I think over my life, I think occasionally I would think that would be interesting for the Beatles to cover. Chauncey Phillips. What's up, Chauncey Phillips? Okay. Here's my story about December 8th, 1980. I was working late installing a restaurant's sound system when the radio started playing Lennon back to back to back. No announcements or commercials. Here we go. Yeah. And that night, during the course of the evening, early morning hours, after midnight, when I was trying to sleep, I didn't sleep all night. How could you? George Harrison went back to bed. No, he's dead. Okay, went back to bed. I couldn't do it. And I wasn't friends with John. But anyway, anyhow, I remember hearing all these different, like you say, these Lennon songs back to back. And I remember thinking to myself, boy, this is what it takes, huh? But songs you never heard. They play stuff like from the Mind Games. They play like I Know, or whatever they were playing, album tracks. And so it takes a guy's death for them to play these, That's what I was thinking. My dad, who never watched football, had to tell me the news. I would pay your flights in exchange for the 3 Fireman albums on vinyl. Very interesting. I'll tell you what, I'd rather keep the Fireman albums than go to England. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, no. Geez, there. No intense offended there. What would they have to do for you to love the Love album? I don't know. Burn them. No, I don't like the Love album. I remember saying the Love album and all that stuff around that time. Well, they were trying. I said they were trying to Disneyfy the Beatles, and that was before the Beatles went to Disney. I just called it that. It just seemed like they were trying to take all the hard edge out of the Beatles and making them all sappy. I mean, the Beatles were a lot of what they did was sappy, yes, but they had some edge too. They're trying to take that all about and make it all love, love, love all the time. And I said, what are they trying to do? Disneyfy the Beatles? Next thing you know, sure enough, be careful what you wish for. Careful what your predictions are, Well, we've been through this before. You really hate how the press hounded Paul. I've never blamed the press. I've never blamed the press. I blame Paul. You probably heard me say this before because Paul found out about John's death early in the morning, the next morning. it was on his mind all day, and he didn't have to leave the house. He could have stayed home and not been bothered by reporters, but he decided to leave his home and go into the recording studio because, that's how Paul deals with grief. Keep working, keep working. And he went with Jeff Emmerich and George Martin, and he worked in the studio and partly worked on a little bit at the time the song Rain Clouds, which became a B-side to Ebony and Ivory. But now here's what I keep saying. Paul had to know, if I leave this house, somebody, and I'm going to go to work at the studio, somebody's going to stop me and ask me for a comment. I'm not going to get away with this scot-free. So it's no surprise that a reporter came up to Paul and said, what do you think about the news of John Lennon? Do you really think? And Paul, having had all day, I'm not trying to say that one day is enough to process it. One day wasn't enough, but Paul could have said, he knew it was coming. He had to know it was coming. He could have said, listen, not right now. I need some time. Please, can I have a break? No comment right now, please. It's too upsetting, or it's a shock right now. Okay, I'll talk. Something like that. Paul eventually learned he was wrong. He learned he was wrong because years later, in 2001, when his friend George Harrison died, he was ready, like he should have been with John, and he actually saw that the paparazzi were there, and he stood out of his vehicle. Okay, guys, what do you want to know? And he talked to him for about 5 minutes, whatever it was, and he addressed the issue. He learned that to be flippant like that. Now, I don't want to hear it because we go through this all the time. The man was in shock. Give him a break. It was his friend. I realized that you could see the man is devastated. It's not that. You could have said no comment, or you could even said it's terrible news, which he did say. Also, he had to say drag, isn't it, which ruined everything. But he did say it's terrible news. He said also, you should have just said it's terrible news. I'm too upset right now, or no comment. He's only got himself to blame, but for that one. I will film you walking into Abbey Road studio. If you get kicked out, it would be a good video. You're really trying hard. Hey, Doc comes through. Matchbox hit number 17 and Slow Down reached number 25 on Billboard. Thanks, Doc. Now that was all right. Yes, that's true. That's true. I've heard this before. When he died, it actually was on the 9th in England. Yeah, England time. Oh, I hurt you with the England. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind going to England, but not over the cost of giving my Fireman albums away. Well, there might be some of this going on, Lila. There might be some of that, going on. Do I see Peter Jackson remixing all that stuff on Disney Plus eventually? No, I don't see that happening, but it wouldn't surprise me. There you go. Yep. What can I say? Well, that's what Paul does. He hides his emotions, right? He doesn't want to see anybody. He doesn't want anybody to see him break down, and I don't blame the man for that. But I'm just saying, he wasn't. It's not like so they just what's the word? Sabotaged him, or just what word am I looking? Ambushed. He wasn't just ambushed. Okay, he knew that was going to happen. I'm going to cut this short, folks, because even though I'm feeling great after my oral surgery, I haven't talked this much, since I got the oral surgery. So I want to actually rinse in there. He said 24 hours after you have to wait 24 hours after the procedure, and it is now 24 hours and 24 and a half hours after the procedure. We could use very warm salt water, and I want to do that, keep it clean. So I'm going to do that. So thank you all for being here and being supportive of the channel. I don't know if you noticed, I haven't made videos in a while, mostly because of this problem. I just haven't felt like it, and I'm getting back in this swing. I have one idea for a video. I have at least one idea. And that's it. So I'm reading your comments now, all the good stuff. Thank you for all these well wishes and everything. And I appreciate it. Now, let me just tell you what's coming up, though. I still have a little bit of time left to do that. Let's see. Now, on Monday, I should be doing the movie show. So go over to the movie channel. You know the movie channel, Mr. Cinemayo. What's that? You really don't know the channel? Okay, if you don't know the channel, I'll show it to you. Okay, wait a minute. Show. There it is. Mr. Cinemayo. We do the movie show every Monday night. Well, I skipped last Monday, but most of the time we do a Monday night live show. We can talk about movies. So go over there, and then I'm going to be, that's what else do I have going on? I don't know if I'm going to be doing, I'm not ready to do the more of the Wednesday wellness shows because I'm going through this right now. I don't think I'm going to do it, but that's another thing that I do over at Mayo Loves Mondays, So on Wednesdays I do the Wednesday wellness and stuff show. So that's over there. I'll put it up here anyway. And Mayo Loves Mondays. That's the other channel. And that's, again, I like to tell people, in case they're not aware, that's where all the rant videos go. I just put up a new rant video. All right. You want like rant videos? I got a doozy over there. So check out the rant videos. There are no more rant videos here. They're over there now. So that's it. And I hope to talk to you all soon. Cheers, everybody.